Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video we're going to be wrapping this rough kyanite shard crystal. So it looks like this. The back of it looks like it's got a little face. And when I made this design for the first time, I'll just show you. Since it came out looking a little different, I didn't add the little beads here. So this is the one that I'm going to be demonstrating on in this video, but I just want to show you kind of how it looks without the beads. And if you want to see how I made this, just keep watching. I'm using one piece of 20 gauge round wire. I'm just straightening it with my fingers because I just removed it from the spool, so it's a little bit curved. And the length of it is 12 inches. And then my crystal here, my raw crystal, is about 35 millimeters, or in inches, it's like somewhere between an inch and a quarter and an inch and a half. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Yours doesn't have to be this exact size or anything, but just measuring it for you. So what we're gonna do, let me zoom in a little bit here. Oh, the wire is 20 gauge round copper wire, and I bought this wire on riogrande.com. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this wire and I am trying to form a little loop. So I kind of am bending it in half and I'm pulling on it until it's like this tiny, tiny little loop. And then what I'm gonna do is, placement here is really important. So your crystal needs to have a wider top and a narrower bottom, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna trap it around a part that's narrow, like right here, and then it won't be able to fall down. But if you wrap the wire, say up here, then it'll be able to kind of slip out of it. It needs to have a wider part at the top to prevent it. So like the little loop that we're going to make around it. So we're going to go down here where it's narrower, place this down. So just look at your crystal and see where there's a portion that's narrower, and that's the portion that you want to wrap your wire around. So now it can't slip through because this little circle is smaller than this up here. So what I did is I just bent my wires to the back, so you can see them here on the back like this. And what you want to do is we're just going to pick a wire. So I'm just going to go here with this right wire on the right hand side, and I'm going to bend it. I'm going to continue and bend it to the front. And there's several choices. You can leave it straight like this, like that's kind of a cool look. Or you can also add like little beads to it. That's always really fun. I think I'm actually gonna do that. I'm gonna grab a few beads real quick. So the beads that I'm using are 2mm beads. They have a 0.037 inch hole, and they're copper beads, again from Rio Grande. So I'm just grabbing 3 of these beads, and totally optional. If you don't have beads or don't want to use beads, that's not gonna make a difference. It's just for looks. So I'm just sliding the little beads on here. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Slide them down, and I'm gonna make the same little loop that I made down here, but I'm trying to get the beads to be like a part of it. So I'm bending it, but I might need to use my pliers here. I'm trying to keep the beads from being, like right now they're all like on one side, and I want them to be kind of centered, Yeah, like this, I think. All right, so I'm pushing this wire to the back. So now I have 2 loops, one with and one without beads. And both of my wires are here on the back. So what I'm gonna do is I like to use my pliers. You can use your hands as well though. And just bend the wire up. And then this wire, we're also gonna bend it up, but we're gonna try and line it up with the other wire. So here's a close-up look of what it looks like. So this wire is below, so it's kind of crossing over. This is the bottom of our pendant, and that's the top of our pendant. So what you want to do next is grab either some round wire. If you're using round wire, you can use 26 gauge and you can do a little weaving pattern. Or alternatively, if you happen to have some half round wire, I have some half round wire right here, it's 24 gauge. It's a little easier because with half round wire, it doesn't unravel as easily, so you don't have to do a weaving pattern. You can just wrap it around and around, so that's what I'm gonna do. What you wanna do is give yourself a nice long tail end though. So grab like a couple of inches of wire, put it like this, or on top actually, that might be easier. So you want the flat side of the half round wire to go up against the wire and the rounded side to point up at you. And if your wire, like mine, is connected to the spool, then wrapping it around and around is gonna make it get twisted. So what you wanna do is you wanna just twirl the piece and guide the wire around. So it's kind of like a little trick to work with half round wire. And if you see, my stone is sliding out. So until we do the top of it, it'll be able to slide out the bottom here, because the bottom was the narrow part. You know, we can't go this way, which is what we wanted. We wanted it to stay because we'll lock in this top part. But maybe it's easier for you is just to take the stone out and do it like this. That might be easier too. And so I'm just gonna twirl it around and around for quite a while, and I'll show you how long it needs to be. All right, so mine is quite tall, as you can see. And I'm gonna put my stone in to show you how tall it needs to be, because the height depends on your stone. So because I had lifted this up a little bit when I was working on it, I'm just gonna push it back down so that it'll go flat up against my stone. I'm taking my stone and I'm inserting it back in now, if you had taken your stone out, and then just push it down all the way as far as it goes. And then here is my little wrap. So I'm just gonna press down on it with my pliers to press down that half round wire, and then I'm gonna cut it so that the end, when I cut it, is here facing me. So you're just pressing down that little wire end so it doesn't stick up. And then you take this, and if you have something round to bend it around, you can just manually bend it with your finger if you want, or you can get some bail making pliers or round nose pliers to bend it around. But I'm just manually just bending it with my finger, and that's your bail for your necklace to go through. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna separate these wires. Let me just straighten this, it's a little bit crooked there. There we go, we're gonna straighten those wires. And we're gonna bring them, we're gonna kind of bend them up like this. So it's gonna hold the top kind of edges of my crystal here. And this might vary slightly with the shape of your crystal. Like, see, mine has like this weird little like hole there. So I'm gonna try and like put it in there like that. Just kind of work with your crystal and bending it up and around the edges like this holds the top of your crystal so it doesn't slide up if you push on it. And then here on the back, we still have this little half round wire. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of bend them into a little bit of like a rounded shape here. And then we're gonna trim them, and we're gonna make like little swirls and attach those swirls with this half round wire that we left ourselves. So every crystal is a little bit different, and you might have to kind of adjust things based on the shape of yours. So just using my round nose pliers, I just made a little loop there, and I'm going to do another one here. This is the back of our piece. I'm going to try and do another video for crystals that are not flat like this one. Like this one's flat, but if you have, say, like a quartz crystal, it will be a little bit more rounder. So I just have to find an appropriate crystal for that video, but I'll make more of these videos. So we're going to take this wire, and our goal now is to attach our loops. So I'm going to work it underneath and have it go through this loop. See that? Sorry, I'm just trying to find my pliers again. So just grabbing it. Oh, I don't want it to touch that other loop yet. And just pulling it through this loop. And now I'm going to have it go through the other loop and underneath. So I'm just going to lift up this loop because I'm having trouble getting in there. So through this loop and underneath, like this whole thing. I want it to just go underneath the whole bit here. Oh, it broke off. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. Here's my little end. So I'm just gonna pull on it. Oh, it's like stuck on something. Come on. Please don't break. There we go. All right, so these two little loops are now connected by this wire that's holding them, and here is the wire. And what you can do now is, before you trim it off, I would just wrap it a few times around just to make sure it's not gonna unravel or anything. If those get pulled, if these get pulled on, you just want it to be secure. So I wrapped it just like a whole bunch of times. I'm just gonna trim it off and push down this wire end just to tuck it away so it's not sticking up. And this is the back. Kind of looks like a little face with little eyes, doesn't it? And this is the front, and now we're done, and our crystal is trapped, and it's like a little crystal shard. I would call it a little kyanite shard. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.